We're still scoreless as we play inning number 6. Wei-Yin Chen working on a shutout through 5. Has allowed a base runner to get to third.
He's throwing the ball well here so far. We mentioned this was going to be important. We also talked about how much he has liked pitching here at home. He's been great this season. He has been great so far this evening. 8 strikeouts through 5 innings. I mentioned that ties a season high for Chen, and he has been in control and right now keeping this Atlanta Braves offense at bay.
He's a former Marlin pitching against the Marlins, and they will face off against the native of Taiwan, Wei-Yin Chen.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the lefty, what he has done so far this season. It's 20 starts for him. That ERA is a little bit high, but he's got some unusual splits. He has struggled on the road. He has been great at home, and so that is certainly something that they would like to see continue here in Miami. He's not a guy that's going to overpower you, but he does throw his fastball quite a bit. 91 has been the average fastball velocity this year. That four-seamer he throws 54% of the time. He has allowed, however, 9 home runs on that pitch.
You know, the Marlins, under Don Mattingly, trying to figure out things at the major league level. Rookie Austin Deane out in left field. Sierra can really go get it out in center field. Ortega is the right fielder. Left side of the infield is Rojas and Riddle. Very good over there. Starling Castro, the second baseman. Derek Dietrich is at first, and the catcher, JT Realmuto, catching Wei-Yin Chen, a 33-year-old, making start number 21. All right, let's do it. Saturday Night Baseball here in Miami. Game's first pitch. Healthy cut. Nothing doing. Acuna Jr. down in the count 0-1.
And he comes out aggressive, looking for a fastball early. And there are a lot of hitters in this Braves lineup that are not afraid to attack a pitcher early. You see a fastball you like, you go after it. Acuna Jr. unfortunately just came up a little empty.
6 leadoff homers for Acuna. And remember, this is just his 78th big league game. And he began the year hitting in the 2 spot and sometimes elsewhere in the lineup, but not leading off.
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible to watch this guy. I mean, so many young players now getting to the big leagues a lot quicker, and you expect them to struggle at some point. But so far for him, it has been pretty smooth sailing. He looks very comfortable in the big league stadium.
Count's now 3-1. Chen began the year with elbow issues, but for the most part he's been healthy since the season's first month. Third year with the Marlins after signing a 5-year contract a handful of years ago. Count goes full to the leadoff man, 3-2.
Yeah, they really weren't sure what they were going to have left here with Wei-Yin Chen. That deal runs through 2020. There have been some injuries, there have been some struggles, and coming into this season they were just kind of hoping that he would be healthy. He's had a lot of setbacks along the way, and so they've been pleasantly surprised with the health and the production.
High down the right field line, that'll make it into the seats. That's one of the things we've seen out of Acuna, is it's not just pull power, he has got enormous power to the opposite field.
And that's something, again, that's supposed to come a little bit later in your career. You're not supposed to be doing that when you first get to the big leagues at such a young age, but it shows you the maturity and why people believe that what he is doing is not something that's necessarily a flash in the pan, but that's something that can last for a while. Whenever you see guys use the entire field, especially with power, it tells you that swing is for real.
Now Chen may be worn out by the end of the first inning. He's already thrown 7 pitches to Acuna.
Check this out too, as far as what Ronald Acuna Jr. has done his last 10 games against the Marlins. How about a better than 1,600 OPS? He has been absolutely hammering Marlin pitching.
Smoked into center field, that'll get down. Leadoff base hit for Acuna Jr. What's new?
And the Marlins are probably just happy that you kept him in the ballpark. He puts together a really tough at-bat. Take a look right here. It looked like it might have been that 4-seam grip, and it was, and split the plate, a little bit elevated. You see that nice smooth swing. Acuna Jr.
So good speed on it first. Acuna with 10 steals and 13 attempts on the year. Here's Camargo. 24-year-old out of Panama. 13 homers, 60 runs batted in. Now, the Braves already got some good news. They've got a little extra pep to their step. There's a reason why. Phillies blew a 5-0 lead today. They lost 8-6 in Toronto. So Brian Snitker and the Braves now leading the NL East by 3.5 games. It could be 4 by the end of the night.
Well, the idea of trying to separate yourself right now in the National League East is not something we thought maybe would be coming in August, but there is opportunity right now. The Phillies have struggled as of late. The Braves have been playing some pretty good baseball, and the idea of getting up by four over the Phillies would be a great way to go into your Sunday. Incredibly, the Nationals 2 games under 500 and now 9 games back. And if you were going to pick before the season started, maybe the easiest division to win, I think a lot of people would have said, yeah, maybe the Nationals in the National League East. I think the Indians, certainly a team, weren't expected to get much of a challenge in the American League Central, but things have really gone a little bit differently than expected in the National League East.
So the first 2 batters in today's game have gone to a 3-ball 2-strike count against Wei-Yin Chen. Already 13 pitches into the game. Don't have an out recorded.
So the nickname there for Wei-Yin Chen, just helping everybody with the pronunciation of his first name.
There goes the runner. High fly ball fairly deep left field. It's going to be playable. Austin Deane. So 1 out, and here comes Freddy Freeman, and what a year he has had against all of the National League, but particularly against this Marlin team.
Yeah, if you're going to crush a club, you certainly want to crush one that is within your division, and to see a .418 batting average over 17 games with 8 home runs, OPS well above 1,200. I mean, Freddy Freeman, you're right, he is a really good hitter, one of my favorite hitters in the game as far as his approach. Tremendous opposite field power, but just another guy that the Marlins have really struggled against this year.
On base percentage exactly .400. Lefty-lefty matchup. Ball 1 to Freeman. And CJ, just to finish off that thought about what we're seeing in the NL East, still 7 games remaining between the Phillies and the Braves. So as confident as Atlanta is right now, they still have some work to do. Down the left field line, Deane again.
I think you're right, especially for Gabe Kapler's club, rookie manager in Philadelphia. They got off to a really slow start. He said, no, this is a playoff team. And he instilled that kind of confidence in the Phillies from the very beginning. And so even though they're struggling a little bit, they absolutely believe that they will be in this thing until the end. They'll put up a fight against the Atlanta Braves. And it's been great for the game, again, because it seemed like the Nationals, I mentioned the Indians, certainly another team, but the Nationals, a team that probably was supposed to run away with their division. But instead, we have some young, hungry teams with some really talented players getting it done in this division right now. And it makes for great baseball.
Nick Markakis. .34-year-old. All-star for the first time in his career, and deservedly so. As professional a hitter as there is in the game today, still plays a mean right field. There goes Acuna into center field, sinking. Sierra, did he? Yes, he did. Out number 3. Magneuris Sierra got a great jump and caught it in the heel of the glove. Distinctive ballparks in Major League Baseball. Marlins Park, Miami, Florida, not too far away from downtown. We've reached inning number 2. Atlanta and Miami. Kurt Suzuki, Ozzie Albies, Adam Duvall batting against Wei-Yin Chen. Kurt Suzuki's first playing time in a while. Got bonked in the arm earlier this week and had to take a couple of games off. Opportunity for Tyler Flowers, the other catcher on the roster.
It was interesting, too, to listen to Brian Snitker talk about Suzuki and how his health was, how he was feeling. And Suzuki said, listen,
If I'm not on the DL, then I can play. You love hearing that. Of course, there's a trend. You got to be a little careful with guys that are willing to play through any pain, and sometimes you have to protect them from themselves, and it's probably one of those situations. But you appreciate it as a manager, but at the same time, okay, just want to give you a day or two, make sure you're feeling right before you head back out there. He's been really good for this club, especially offensively, who he's become. At this point in his career, he's always kind of looked at more of it as a defensive catcher, catch and throw guy, you know, a little bit of a stick, but offensively, things have changed in a pretty big way for him. For the Braves, right at the right time.
Eager Beaver, after not playing since Tuesday, has fouled off the first 2 pitches seen. Didn't mean to, went too far. 3-pitch strikeout for Chen. Enhance your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets. Enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Massive swing and a miss by the second baseman, Ozzie Albies. He has Poochie on the back of his jersey. That's just his family nickname. Story was he was given that by his grandmother back in Curacao. So Poochie at the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. CJ, what do you think about Players Weekend around Major League Baseball?
I love it. I think it's great. Fans obviously love it. The jerseys are fantastic. The idea, I think, of bringing some personality to the players. You know, baseball's kind of always been accused of being a little bit buttoned up, right? So the idea that players can throw it out there a little bit with their nicknames, I think it's fantastic for the game.
If you were playing nowadays, what would be in the back of your
last
jersey?
year, I'll go ahead and take a little shot here at FS1. Last year they got us jerseys because I happened to work a national game on Players Weekend. Now I dropped the ball a little bit. You know, when you have a nickname or you go by an initial name, there's not a ton of nicknames. So I kind of blew it. I just went with CJ, and I was a Cleveland Indians jersey. Oh, you know, and I do because we were in Cleveland at the time, and you know I do a pretty good amount of the Rangers games, so I was a little uncomfortable putting it on, quite honestly, but I did.
Duvall swings to the first pitch. This is going to be an easy 1-2-3 inning, maybe. Nope. An error by the shortstop Riddle. So the inning remains alive. Just the slightest bobble, and with Duvall busting it down the line, it's going to be a base runner with 2 outs.
Yeah, it's so important that you do bust it out of the box every single time. You never know. Feels like a routine ground ball, but all it takes is that little bit of a bobble right there on the exchange to give Duvall enough time to beat this out. You see it right here. It looks like it should be an easy play, but did not come out of the glove cleanly, and that allows Duvall to be able to reach and keep this inning alive.
So instead of an 8-pitch inning for Chen, it's an error on Riddle, and Dansby Swanson will bat for the first time.
Hey.
74 miles per hour, strike 1.
So with that being said, if I could go back, obviously no jerseys this weekend for you and I. It'll be all right, we'll get over it. But yeah, I played in Asia for a couple of years, and Nico-chan was a nickname for me. I think that's where I would have went. Yeah, how about you?
Oh, hadn't even thought about it. I was actually given the name Eric by my parents because they wanted something that could not be shortened, that could not be made into a nickname. My sister's Lisa, so we both have names that could not be changed at all or grouped around with.
So they get upset?
And we'll put a Y on the end of it.
So do they get upset when people call you E? I'm sure some people call you E.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, that's not Eric. That's not appropriate. Dansby Swanson has the unusual name of Dansby. That is his mother's maiden name. He goes by Dans.
The other thing, too, I mean, again, it's great for the game, it's great for fans and talking about the nicknames and figuring them out. But also, if you're a Marlins fan and you get one of these jerseys, which are pretty special, you get double as a crossing guard uniform. Because they are unbelievably, the sleeves are unbelievably bright.
Off the thumbs, shallow left field. Deane got a slow start, but plenty of time to make the one-handed grab. So the error by Riddle does no damage.
was loud. Bradley going back, triangle, leaps. Oh, he made the catch! He robs Aaron Judge. What a play by Jackie Bradley Jr.
And this ball was smoked off the bat. It was hit high, and that's what allowed Jackie Bradley Jr. to have time. And this is the hardest part of the outfield.
They're all loaded. High fly ball, deep into left center field.
Get out.
Way back it carries. And that ball is gone. The Red Sox walk it off in style.
That's how it's done.
The X-Man strikes.
So you want to see a walk-off grand slam this time.
Bogarts wins it with a grand slam in the last of the 10th inning. Can you believe it?
Swinging his club out to left field. Ichiro late break. Now charging back out of the warning track. Ichiro back to scale the wall. Ichiro leaps. Does he make the catch? Ichiro makes the catch. He hauls it in.
He did! Ichiro making a mark here in Seattle on his second stint. Standing ovation for the 44-year-old future Hall of Famer. Love affair with Ichiro never stopped.
Everybody's standing at the Coliseum. He has no-hit the Red Sox for 8 2/3. Swung on a ground ball to short. Simeon's got it. Throws to second for the force. And Sean Manaea has no-hit the Red Sox.
An absolutely sensational performance. The 7th no-hitter in Oakland A's history, and it belongs to...
By Swiffer. If you got a life, you got a Swiffer. Welcome back, everyone. Miami, Florida. Big rainstorm in the area this afternoon. Rain has come and gone, but really makes us no mind. We're undercover here at Marlins Park. CJ Nikowski, I'm Eric Collins.
That was nasty this afternoon. Not what you expect when you come to Miami. Thunderstorms, and TV went out for a little while in the hotel. But it's a different kind of feeling, right? When you're either playing baseball or calling baseball games and you have that kind of weather in the middle of the day, you're instantly, your body starts telling you, I might have a night off. Not here. Not going to happen.
Here's Austin Deane leading things off. Deane's been a big leaguer for all of about 2 weeks. Began the year playing Double-A baseball. Moved up to the Triple-A club, and now playing left field for the Marlins. Native of Spring, Texas. I think he came up here too late to put in his request for a nickname on the back of the jersey. He's just happy to have a jersey. So that's why we got Deane.
Absolutely. For guys, get that first opportunity. I don't care if they give you number 99, if they spell your name wrong, as long as you're picking up that jersey in a big league clubhouse. I think a good example of kind of what we talked to both of the managers about today, and how quickly players move along and to go to a couple levels and then be in the big leagues in August. It's a little bit of a different trend in the game now. Players, it used to be, to spend a full year here, maybe a full year here. Those days are over. It is. If you feel like a guy has done all he can do at a level, just go ahead and move him up. You don't wait it out. And if you feel like he's ready to get a look at the big league level, there's zero hesitation these days with organizations.
High pop-up in the field of play. Freeman with the squeeze. Anibal Sanchez gets out number 1. Doesn't really pop that radar gun much anymore. Used to be mid-90s, now down to 91 with a good effort. 34 years of age from Maracay, Venezuela. 7 years here with the Marlins. Highlighted by a no-hitter thrown September 6, 2006 when he no-hit the Diamondbacks.
You bring up a good point, though, with the velocity, because as guys get older, and he's 34 years old, the velocity comes down, and you have to figure out how do you make adjustments. Well, he's actually been really good. He's striking out an even 9 batters per 9. That's above Major League average. And for guys that throw 90, that's probably well above Big League average. His walk rate 2.8 per 9, so he fills up the strike zone. That's better
than MLB average. He's kind of turned into this crafty righty. We use that phrase a lot of times with lefties when they don't throw hard. That really is what Anibal Sanchez is, and it's a full repertoire that he uses. It's really amazing. Baseball Savant and StatCast do a really good job of pitch classification, keeping track of everything. Go to those websites and they'll break everything down and how often they use it. And on the high end, the guy will have 5 pitches. Well, you look at Anibal Sanchez's page: 4-seamer, 2-seamer, cutter, curveball, split, slider, changeup. I mean, it is deep. And it's not like, well, he throws this one pitch once in a while. You know, the least he throws any pitch is 6% of the time. You get a guy that throws a pitch that shows up there, and you might see 1% of the time, and sometimes you don't even count it. You just kind of dismiss it. But it has been incredible. I'm doing my research. I'm looking. I'm like double and triple checking. I'm like, is that right?
So how many pitches is that?
Well, technically it's 7. It's 2 different kinds of fastballs.
Hit well into the gap, left center field. It hangs up long enough for Duvall to run it down. So Rojas is out, number 2. All right, CJ, I got to ask you. I guarantee you there's some person out there watching this game that's wondering, just like I am, if he throws 7 pitches, what's the catcher doing behind the plate?
So with the fastball,
take your glove off.
I mean, so with the fastball, you can always use just one regardless. So a lot of times you'll see 4-seam fastball, and it's just a straight 1. And then when a guy wants to throw that sinker, he'll take that same finger and just kind of move it in a circle a little bit. That means 2-seamer. 3 right there is generally the slider. And there it is. And now the other thing with the pitch classifications, what could happen, and this would not be uncommon for a guy like Sanchez,
is he may take that slider and throw a little bit harder, and it looks like a cutter. And it might be the same pitch. He just kind of manipulates it a little bit and kind of plus and minus on pitches. Greg Maddux was infamous for that, throwing the same pitch, but throwing it in a 7 to 8 mile an hour speed range, even though it was the same pitch, and it would give a little bit of a different look. I would guess that's probably somewhat the case with Sanchez. Or the changeup and the split finger, same kind of thing.
2 balls and a strike. Magneuris Sierra, the batter, 22-year-old, came over in the trade that sent Marcell Ozuna to the St. Louis Cardinals over the winter. You talk about guys moving up a level when needed. He moved up from high A last year all the way up to the big league club when they had a whole bunch of injuries in the Cardinal outfield. 3-2 to Sierra. Foul tipped into the catcher's glove. So a strikeout for Sanchez. We've made it through 2 complete scoreless.
Mookie Betts in his career against Kansas City. 359 after his base hit in the first inning. 1-1. That one high and deep. Driven to left center, way back. Yes, sir.
0-2. There's another drive deep to left. If it's fair, down the line, hooking, and it is a home run. 3rd home run of the game for Mookie Betts. He's pulled off the hat trick again.
Are you serious?
Chapman delivers. Swinging a bouncing ball to deep third. Backhanded by Andujar. Long throw and drop. And here comes Jackie Bradley. And he scores the tying run.
And the Yankee right-hander's pitch.
Bounced up the middle and through. And that's how the Red Sox have walked it off tonight.
And Andrew Benintendi sends us home. And the Red Sox are 9.5 up on the Yankees.
Runner goes. That one's still deep to left. There it goes. See ya. A long home run for Stanton. His first one in the Bronx.
Swung on and hit in the air to deep left field. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. Oh, that Gary is scary.
Deep to left. There it goes. See ya.
This is Judgment Day.
During this break in the action, here's a popular clip from MLB.com.
And there it goes. Deep to right field. Cody Bellinger, number 36. That was an absolute blast off the bat of Cody Bellinger. And that breaks the rookie record. He has it all to himself, passing Mike Piazza.
Scoreless as we play the top of the third inning.
Yeah, look at this here. I mean, his first two batters, we kind of noted, well, looks like the Braves were going to work him a little bit. Took him 14 pitches to get through those first two hitters, but he's only needed 15 now to get through the last 6 batters. And so we'll see if the Braves try to get back to working the count a little bit here with Wei-Yin Chen.
The pitcher Sanchez leads things off, top of the third inning, looking for his first hit of 2018. Never been a great hitter. Spent the last handful of seasons in the American League with the Tigers, but this year a whole bunch of nothing.
Career 079 hitter. Does have 7 RBIs. These are things that you keep track of. I believe, I got to double check that. I thought I saw, or it might have been Wei-Yin Chen. Does he have a triple under his belt?
I don't believe that Chen does. I believe he has one double in his career.
Sanchez has a double and a triple.
Oh my goodness.
For an 079 hitter, that's doing some slugging.
Dangerous. 2 balls and a strike. Chen to Sanchez.
Now the triple was 7 years ago. 2012. The double came in 2014.
He remembers them both.
Oh, no doubt. That's, well, I got the no-hitter. You probably talk about that a little bit post-career, but he'll talk about that triple a lot.
So strikeout number 3 for Chen. Tomorrow on Fox, the NFL preseason continues as A.J. Green of the Bengals take on Josh Allen and the Bills. Kickoff is tomorrow at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. If you haven't seen Josh Allen, he can probably throw a football 85 miles an hour. He has got a howitzer. Back to the top of the order, and Acuna. Breaking ball, strike 1.
It's interesting. We don't see that, right? I mean, with all the abilities that we have to capture data, do you ever hear about
every once in a while, like at the combine, they'll throw that out?
I think it'd be interesting to know in game while you're watching a game, you see a guy rifle.
Just like spin rate in baseball, sometimes you do see revolution rates because you want a tighter ball throwing it through the air. Well, velocity with throwing is something that Acuna has, and you hear the crowd. A lot of Atlanta Braves fans have made the trip down here to South Florida, and anytime a pitch gets close to Acuna, it's a story.
Well, especially the recent history here between the Braves and the Marlins, and of course Acuna was on that great run with the leadoff home runs, and then he got hit to lead off a game. That did not go over very well, and then he came back and hit a home run.
Now he comes back and drills it over the head of Deane. Acuna scampers into second. Stand-up double with 1 out. Unfazed.
Yeah, it really is. It's pretty amazing. And, you know, maybe that was more of a crowd reaction than it was for him. But you see this off-speed pitch stay up in the zone. And this really is a beautiful swing. Watch it here from the side. Short to the ball, long through. You talk about short to it, long through it. That is a good example of it right there. And he took that 84-mile-an-hour changeup and he hit it 105 miles an hour. That to me is a number that I'd be interested in. The difference
plus
between,
22.
Yeah, you know, the difference between the pitch and how hard you actually hit it, because you got to generate some power on those off-speed pitches.
Here's Camargo. Flying out to left his first time up. Braves haven't scored in a while. Lost 1-0 last night. Already today, the Phillies with a loss. Braves trying to add an extra full game to their lead in the NL East. Currently up by 3.5 games on Philadelphia. Braves have been terrific against the East for the most part. 41-20 against the NL East. Dominated this Marlins club. 2 balls and a strike to Camargo.
We talked about the fastballs with Wei-Yin Chen, and it's 54% on the four seam. He actually rarely throws his two-seam fastball, which is kind of rare for a lefty. You think about being a left-handed pitcher, you're predominantly going to face right-handed hitters. There are a couple of lefties in there with Freeman and Markakis tonight, but you want to have the ability to run the ball away. But he is a guy that just doesn't throw that two-seam fastball. So the four-seamer, that one right there, he has got to be careful because it cut back over the middle of the plate. So if he wants to work any of these right-handed hitters away, there's a small margin for error because he doesn't run it with the fastball arm side. And if he misses like that, where that cuts back over the middle, it becomes a very hittable pitch for right-handed hitters. That's something to keep an eye on here this evening.
Another full count. The combination of Acuna and Camargo have seen 24 total pitches in 4 plate appearances against Chen. They have been a thorn in Chen's side. Got him. Off-speed pitch, and Camargo way out in front. 4 strikeouts for Chen.
He might have been sitting fastball in that spot because this is an ugly swing and a slider, and a good one from Wei-Yin Chen. Watch the location down and in. Borderline of whether or not that was a strike, but that swing tells me that Camargo was probably expecting a fastball as he is off balance and way out front.
Well, here's a tough customer. Freddy Freeman. 3-time All-Star. Absolutely stunned. Just kind of poring over notes and stories and thoughts. Seems like he's been Mr. Brave for a decade now. Still only 28 years of age.
He's a special player, too. And that is pretty unbelievable. I don't even think I would have realized that he was only 28 years old. Really tough hitter. Lefties or righties, it doesn't matter. He's actually hitting better against lefties this year. He came into this game hitting .323 against lefties, .313 against righties. So he's not a guy that you can necessarily play matchup with, and the big part of that is his ability to drive the ball to left field. Not hit it to left field, but drive it to left field with authority.
0-2. And Real Muto just not able to hang on. Freeman stays alive. Well, it's not just Freeman, but the guy behind him in the order, Nick Markakis, another left-handed batter who is very effective against southpaws. Both Freeman and Markakis well over 300 against left-handed pitching.
That makes it easy on a manager when you're filling up a lineup. You got a left-handed starter, doesn't matter. You're worried about a good left-handed reliever, doesn't matter.
Not a typical Freeman swing.
People that have been around the team and try to come up with a game plan, but for a guy like Derek Jeter, he needs to see it with his own eyes, on the field and off the field. He's here quite a bit with these fans and understanding the experience of this ballpark and where they want to improve in those areas. Of course, first things first, getting improved on the field.
Nick Markakis softly past the glove of Chen. This could be an infield single, and it is. Throw gets away. Not far enough. A fortuitous hop. And Dietrich, just being smart, tags Markakis, but he didn't make the wrong turn. So a leadoff single to begin the 4th inning.
He knew this was going to be trouble as soon as Chen couldn't get to it. The ball kind of died on that second bounce. And as Castro comes in and tries to make that play, even if this throw was on line, I don't think it would have made much of a difference. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I think Nick Markakis beats this out regardless.
So just the 3rd hit for Atlanta, and the first hit by someone other than Ronald Acuna Jr. Here's Kurt Suzuki. Struck out on 3 pitches first time up. It's been a fun summer for Kurt Suzuki. Just saw that he's got 9 homers on the year. Those are 9 significant homers because this year he has passed his cousin Shane Victorino on the all-time home run list of players born in Hawaii. So Kurt Suzuki is now the all-time home run leader from the 50th state. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good to see. Last year, he set a career high with 19 home runs. He went through a phase in his career from 2009 to 2011 where he was showing some power, but then it was 2012 to 2016 where the power seemed to have disappeared. There were years where he was hitting just 3 home runs, 5 home runs, and then last year, at the age of 33, hit 19.
Figured it out. Out number 1, Ortega makes the play. Braves are now 0 for 7 with men on base. Mentioned that the Braves were shut out yesterday. So the last 12 innings over the last 26 hours have produced zip for the Atlanta offense. Ozzie Albies.
It's interesting too because the Braves are a team, and we know batting average, maybe we don't use it to assess the way that we used to, but it still has some meaning. And they came into this one hitting .260 as a team. That's 3rd best in all of Major League Baseball and best in the National League. It's a team that can swing it a little bit. You're going to go through little lulls here and there, trying to string some hits together. But right now, Chen's been pretty good. And I think it's worth keeping an eye on Albies right now at this phase. He's been struggling a little bit as of late. And talking to some people around the Braves, he felt like his swing was getting a little big. He was getting a little pull happy. Trying to work on going the other way, using the whole field a little bit more. And you can see it at times, but then you can also see him get really big with that swing again.
Popped up right side. Out of play. All right, realistically, does anything in Ozzie Albies' life change now that he's hitting down in the order? Began the year as the leadoff guy, now hitting 6th. Is he asked to do anything different? Does he have a different mindset? Or is it simply the fact that he is not potentially going to bat as many times in the game?
Yeah, so I think from the team standpoint, no expectations have changed. I don't want him to do anything different. They're hoping that when you slot a guy down in the order that it takes some of the pressure off, that maybe he's not feeling like, not that he doesn't have to do as much, of course he wants to perform, but there's something about being down in that order a little bit lower mentally that they're hoping will work for him. And then, yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said for maybe less at-bats when it's all said and done. You know, we talk about these young players, and I'm guilty of this as much as any, but we gloss over. We see young players doing well, like, oh, yeah, look how easy it is for them. Well, the reality is it's not that easy, and you will get tired over the course of a full season, and you're going to go through some tough stretches. So the idea of dropping a guy so maybe it's less at-bats is not a terrible idea either. Even game to game, right? It could be 3 plate appearances instead of 4, 4 instead of 5.
Softly hit into left field. Deane comes on, has to play it on a hop. First hit of the night for Albies. Runners on at first and at second with just 1 out.
I will say this, watching him with Albies, he doesn't seem like a guy that is feeling or dealing with pressure. Now look at this breaking ball. It's down low. Look at Realmuto. He's getting ready to block that pitch. Like, that ball was going to be in the dirt. Now, there's 2 different ways to look at this. We look at a guy like Vladimir Guerrero, who we talk about all the time, the Hall of Famer, the unbelievable coverage that he had outside the strike zone. He can get base hits on pitches like that all the time. It's great if you're making contact and you're getting base hits. If you're swinging and missing or you're making weak contact consistently on pitches out of the zone, then the conversation turns to, well, should he be more disciplined? Should he not be chasing those pitches? When it turns into a hit, nobody says anything. If it turns into a pop out, hell, why are you chasing pitches out of the zone?
Duvall swings at the first pitch. Circuitous route by Sierra, but he makes the play. And that's out number 2. The MLB at Bat mobile app brings every baseball moment to your favorite devices. Catch it all season with the free MLB.tv Game of the Day, live radio broadcasts, in-game highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today.
So I'll give you a little nerd food to back that up with.
Love it. Okay.
So the O swing percentage, which is how often a player swings at pitches outside of the zone, for Albies this year, 39%. The league average is just under 31%, and he is far and away at the highest O swing percentage of any Atlanta Brave. And so he is a guy that will chase. Now, again, when you get those hits, nobody cares. Vladimir Guerrero was able to make it work. We called him a bad ball hitter. And when you're not getting it done, that's when you start to hear about it. That's when maybe you get slid down in the order. That's when the conversation becomes, should you try to tighten up your pitch selection a little bit?
Oh, we are doing a Braves game. And there are some old school Braves fans. You talk about bad ball hitting. They don't want to hear Vladimir Guerrero. It was all about Rico Carty. Rico Carty was just a notorious bad ball hitter out of the Dominican back in the 70s. Great player was Rico Carty. And if Rico Carty was playing on Players Weekend, he'd have Big Dog. Big Dog.
With a W?
Dansby Swanson. 12 homers from his shortstop spot, trying to get a 2-out base hit. We're starting to notice some themes here from Wei-Yin Chen. He has 5 Ks. He's induced 6 flyouts. There has yet to be an out recorded on the ground.
Yeah, it's interesting to see now. Chen came in with a 38% ground ball rate. That's below league average. League average has been around 44% this year, but it's not 0. I mean, it's 38%, so kind of surprising to see that he has yet to record an out on the ground.
2-2 to Swanson. Juan Nieves, pitching coach for Miami. He threw a no-hitter early in his career as the Milwaukee Brewer. I want to say that Robin Yount, diving catch to save the day. Struck out. Dansby Swanson strikes out. That's now 6 punch-outs for Chen. Swiffer. If you've got a life, you got a Swiffer. Saturday night in Miami. First pitch to begin our 5th inning is a called strike 1. Anibal Sanchez looking for his first base hit of the year. 0 for 28.
It's kind of a dirty play right there by Chen. Has 0 for 28. You throw him a 72-mile-an-hour breaking ball. He's obviously had an issue this year. You know, 2 strikes, I get it. Turnabout's fair play. We'll see what happens when Sanchez gets back out there to face Chen. I mean, you're trying to get outs, but I'm not saying you're giving in and letting him get a base hit, but you can probably beat him with just your fastball.
Low-scoring baseball here at Marlins Park over the last 2 days. Dating back to last night, 13 innings played consecutively with only 1 run scored. Last night was a 1-0 win for the Marlins. 92 miles per hour, and Sanchez strikes out for the 2nd time. It's now 7 strikeouts for Chen. Well, for the most part, Atlanta, they have flexed their muscle against the Marlins this year.
Yeah, they certainly have. And look at the runs per game, 6.5 to 3.4. That's where they get it done, and they've absolutely dominated in every area. But maybe the one that sticks out the most, that bullpen ERA, that last one, the relievers ERA, 1.46 to 7.29. About scoring runs late and kind of finishing things off in a big way. The Braves have done that to the Marlins all season.
A couple of Braves in particular have killed Marlins pitching. Freddy Freeman and this man, Ronald Acuna. Acuna down in the count, 0-2.
The Braves decided not to start the season with Acuna at the big league level. There's a lot of talk about that. He had just crushed every minor league level that he had gone to. And that's not going to be well received. As we mentioned earlier, some of the history. And, you know, it's one of those things as you hear those Braves fans that are here booing. You just mentioned how great he has been against the Braves this year. And they know they have to pitch him in off the plate. But anytime you get close, you're going to hear about it because they already hit him once. There's a little back and forth, little miniature beanball war between these two clubs surrounding some of the pitches with Acuna. Watch this right here. That one's pretty far in. What I was going to say, so they decided to have him start in AAA, and it's not uncommon. It's happening now, and a lot of times it has to do with service time. The Cubs did it with Chris Bryant. Bring him up in the middle of April and essentially get almost 7 full seasons before he's eligible for free agency. Well, same thing here with Acuna Jr., which from a business standpoint is looking like a really smart move. And I think even fans are like, yeah, we want him here as long as we possibly can keep him. If you can't lock him up to a team-friendly deal or a long-term deal, then all right, we have to start the season a little bit later without him, so be it. We know we can keep him longer. The only person it really upsets, and understandably so, is the player.
Yeah, best of both worlds for the Atlanta Braves front office and seemingly their fans. Is not only are they going to get more than likely another year of Acuna long term, but also it didn't cost them much beginning of the year. They're still in first place, currently with a 3.5 game lead after the loss this afternoon by Philadelphia.
That's a really good point, because when Jason Hayward came up, he did break camp with the team as a 20-year-old on opening day. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe they made the postseason by 1 game. Or whatever it might have been. It was close. And had the Braves missed by, say, a game this year, and they don't make the postseason, they miss by a game, you'd be playing that game with yourself, well, should we have had him up here earlier? And would that make a difference? And then, of course, the Braves eventually had to trade Jason Hayward 1 year away from free agency. Had they held him back a couple of weeks, they would have had him for another year, maybe not made that trade.
Third at bat for Acuna. He's getting ready to see his 21st pitch from Chen. Chen has only thrown 56 pitches to everyone else in the Braves lineup. Wow, so well over a fourth of all the pitches thrown by Wei-Yin Chen have been thrown to that man.
I'm guessing somebody didn't have the count right. We had the count right. Jr. seemed like he wasn't interested in the walk.
What's the old line? You can't walk off an island? Swing the bat.
He wants to, but he really did show some pretty incredible discipline. And it is amazing to see the numbers you just mentioned, the amount of pitches that he has seen so far, and averaging 7 per plate appearance. Again, young players are supposed to be a little bit undisciplined, and that is just not the case here with Acuna Jr.
First walk by Chen. That was a 9-pitch walk. Here's Camargo. Strike 1 called. 24-year-old from Panama. And the cool thing about Acuna is, as quickly as he sped through the Atlanta chain, it wasn't like he was a sure thing when he signed. He signed for $100,000, which is a decent chunk of change. But in modern baseball, for an uber prospect from Latin America, that's not much.
Nope. No, you're absolutely right. 2014.
High popper. It's going to be playable. Shallow center field. And finally, Sierra calls off Castro and makes the play.
Well, it's turned out to be a really great deal for the Braves and really for their player developmental staff. Think about the idea of getting a player and what they probably thought of him, and really what the rest of the industry thought of him at the time. Right? If it's a $100,000 signing bonus, that gives you a little bit of a feel that certainly teams were interested. But what he became once he put on that professional uniform, his first year, rookie ball in 269, but he had an incredible on base of 380. Didn't show very much power, but it only got better after that, and he just continued to cruise at every single level that he hit. Now, ironically enough, he starts the season in AAA after having a great spring training, and he only hit 211 at AAA this year with the Braves, and that was probably, you wonder for him a little bit. He had the great spring training, did make the team. Did that affect him? That's probably at least a fair assumption. But he was swinging the bat a lot better before they called him up. They wanted to get him kind of going a little bit, and he finally did get it going after 90 at-bats at AAA. But you look at the numbers as a whole, and you're like, well, how did he get called up hitting 211 with a 297 on base? Well, there's a little bit more of a story there.
Freeman loops it foul. He's going to have to work down in the count 0-2.
And his current 924 OPS, which is what he came into this game posting, it's only gotten better. It's higher than any level he's ever been anywhere. And I know he's only 20 years old, but at the minor league level, he has never put an OPS up that high. It's not supposed to work that way. Your numbers are not supposed to be better in the big leagues than they have been in the minor leagues.
Acuna last year, 3 different levels in the Braves chain, stole 40 bases. This is a guy who has the speed to do a lot of things. Hasn't run with reckless abandon as a big leaguer. Just 10 steals in 13 attempts. Maybe a time to run here.
Yeah, it's tough to do it against the Marlins just because they've done such an excellent job. 36 caught stealings by their catcher. That's the 3rd most in the game. Muto's got a great arm. He's done a really nice job. Thrown out 37% of base runners this year.
If we do see Acuna run, who's going to be the man covering second base?
Well, I think because of the angle, it's got to be your third baseman in this spot. You get these shifts, or excuse me, well, not technically your third baseman, your shortstop.
Oh, sure, yes.
Yeah, so I don't think it would be Rojas. You just got to make sure that if there's any hesitation, it's a kind of a weird angle. I guess because here's the deal. So you have your shift this way right now because you're playing the percentages that your hitter. And Freddy Freeman is going to hit a ball to the right side. So because of that, would you want to vacate where Rojas is right now, the third baseman who's standing in the second base position? I don't think you would. I would assume that you would want Riddle to cover. Hopefully we'll find out. It'll be fun to watch.
Last point about the signing bonus for Acuna.
Yeah.
Acuna signed for $100,000 in 2014. The Marlins, 1999, 15 years before Acuna signed, they signed Miguel Cabrera out of Venezuela for $1.8 million. So 18 times what Acuna got, and that was 15 years prior.
They knew, and everyone else knew, as far as how special Miguel Cabrera was going to be, and that's why you command that kind of signing bonus. Also, different rules. The rules have changed as far as international spending. That has
always the Wild West.
Something to do with it, but not totally.
Yeah, 0 restrictions back then. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Good at bat by Freeman. Runner will be off. And that misses inside. Did it hit him? It's going to be a runner on at first and at second. I think that's just ball 4. Someone called time, so maybe Freeman did get hit with the pitch.
Let's take a look here. Well, it doesn't look like that hit anything.
Well, so it's just your standard issue walk.
I think part of that was he had a little bit of a reaction. But let's see, everybody's walking over to third base, though. Wei-Yin, Chen, Riddle in that spot. You have to make sure that third base is covered. That's something new for these players over these last couple of years for the modern player, having to be aware of the shifts and which bases may be vacated because of it.
So, a couple of walks here in the 5th inning. Acuna and Freeman, and Markakis will bat with 2 outs. Braves have yet to get a man to third. Marlins only did it once. That was back in the 1st inning. Realmuto couldn't score. Scoreless ball game. Top of the 5th inning. 81 runs batted in for Markakis.
So for Markakis, he's been very good with runners in scoring position this year. .302 batting average for him. So far tonight, the Braves are 0 for 4.
There's a good strike, 1-1. Well, food for thought. Don Mattingly earlier this year, remember a quote from him. He was talking about Chen. He said, things go bad for him quickly. The quote was, the air comes out of the balloon real quick, it seems like, with Chen. He was cruising through the first 4 innings, but now a couple of walks here in the 5th. And a dangerous Markakis at the plate who can change things around quickly.
So check this out, and this is the downside of having a pitcher as your analyst. I don't think I've ever seen a base runner do this before, and I'm not exactly sure why. Watch as Freddy Freeman comes off of first base. He looks like he's getting ready to race somebody to second. And then the quick turn in. If he feels like he'll be quicker that way, if he'll get a better jump. I mean, anytime you have the first baseman playing back the way that you do right now, it gives you an opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive with your lead. But of course, you got to be careful about getting back. But I don't think I've ever seen that.
When you see a sprinter get out of the starting blocks, they're not starting off like side saddle. They're getting into a stance and just going forward.
I mean, it makes some sense. I just feel like I'm kind of waiting for someone to say, on your mark, get set, go. And they're just going to take off.
Two balls and 2 strikes. 2 aboard, 2 outs. Nick Markakis, number 22. Chen strikes him out. Wei-Yin Chen just struck out a tough customer. We're still scoreless as we play inning number 6. Wei-Yin Chen working on a shutout through 5. Hasn't allowed a base runner to get to third.
He's throwing the ball well here so far. We mentioned this was going to be important. We also talked about how much he has liked the pitching here at home. He's been great this season. He has been great so far this evening. 8 strikeouts through 5 innings. I mentioned that ties a season high for Chen, and he has been in control and right now keeping this Atlanta Braves offense at bay. Good command tonight as well for Chen. Just that, or excuse me, 2 walks for him, but it's been 4 hits, no runs. About 17 of 22 first pitch strikes. He's been in the zone all night. 61 of his 92 pitches have been in the strike zone. That's good for a 66% strikeout rate. 3% better than what he's done so far this season. And so he'll try to get through at least another inning here for Don Mattingly.
Kurt Suzuki leads things off for Atlanta. Suzuki, Albies, and Duvall. High pop up, out of play behind home plate.
Season high pitch count for Chen this year has been 108 pitches, so you see him there at number 93. So plenty of room as far as the range and what Don Mattingly has allowed him to do so far this season, where if he doesn't get into too much trouble, enough pitches to at least try to get through this 6th inning.
Well, when you strike out 8 Atlanta Braves through 5 innings, you're doing something. The Braves have the fewest amount of strikeouts as a team in the National League.
They put the ball in play. They got the good batting average to go with it.
Leadoff single, Suzuki. So for just the 3rd time tonight, leadoff batter aboard for Atlanta. In both the 1st and the 4th inning, the leadoff man with a single, but both times base runner just stalled. Acuna never made it past 1st in the 1st, and in the 4th inning, Markakis made it to 2nd, but that was it. Do you think possibly small ball with Albies at the plate? You just try and manufacture something?
It's possible they could think about it a little bit when you got a guy that's been struggling. The idea of trying to move a runner over, especially if you know you're going to pinch hit. If it gets down to that far, you have Duvall in there because you like him against lefties, even though he's only hitting .214 against lefties this year. It's one way to look at it. But the next couple of righties that are coming up, actually for Swanson and Duvall, both hitting .214 against lefties this year. So since that's been a little bit of a struggle, you get a guy like Albies who came in hitting .342 against lefties, your odds are a little bit better with him swinging the bat. So it's not a bad idea, but I think based on where you are in the lineup right now, you want Albies to swing it.
CJ, as a former pitcher, has the mental aspect of the pitcher changed because the way Major League Baseball has changed? When you pitched in the 90s and the early 2000s, did you think about the options that could happen? The bunt,
sure.
The hit and run, the straight steal, the pitch out. Now that the fact that those things have kind of gone the way of the dodo bird, does that make less of a stressful situation as a pitcher? Does it change things at all?
I think so. I mean, there's definitely some pluses and minuses to this generation for pitchers. Now there's more information as far as strategy goes that you have to process. So there's more to think about there. So it's less to think about as far as will there be a bunt, will there be a skill. I mean, you still have to do the job and make sure you don't just give up on those things. They still happen. They just don't happen nearly the frequency. The other thing you have to go along with all that information is the fact that guys swing big way more than they ever had in the past. And they'll take monster hacks regardless of count. You see one right there. You know, the idea of a two-strike guy shortening up and trying to go the other way. They still exist. They're not completely extinct, but they're not nearly as many as there used to be. And you just get some big swings. And so you have to be a little bit more careful. Especially behind in the count, or really any count for that matter. But there's times where you think you might be given a pitch. Be a little careful maybe, but you can do things like that in two-strike counts now because you're getting those kind of big swings from hitters, and that's Chen knowing exactly what he was dealing with his opponent. Take a look here. 0-2 four-seam fastball well above the zone. That's a good example of what you're seeing different in the game right now. Not trying to shorten up, not trying to take advantage of maybe a hole on the right side, but instead taking a big hack at a pitch out of the zone in an 0-2 count.
9 strikeouts for Chen. Adam Duvall looking for his first homer as a Brave. Heck, he'll just settle for his first run batted in. All of those power numbers for Duvall coming as a Cincinnati Red. The 15 homers and the 61 runs batted in. He is now just 4 for 31 without a homer or a run driven in while playing for Atlanta.
And not surprising as the 9 strikeouts are now a season high for Chen, that he's gotten himself 14 swinging strikes, swings and misses. That is a season high for him as well. 14, or excuse me, 12 was his previous high. And so very interesting, right? You never know. You look at it on paper, you see the Braves, well, they don't strike out a lot. They put the ball in play, they hit for average. And then you get a guy like Chen, he's got more swings and misses tonight than any other night.
Double play ball. 6-4. No! Oh, a little bit of laissez-faire getting it over to first, and Duvall busting it, beats it out. I thought that was standard issue.
Yeah, Don Mattingly's got the hand up right now. They want to at least take some time to look at this to see if possibly the umpires missed this, but I think they're going to challenge. Take a look here. That is, ooh, I tell you what, I think they may challenge that. That's close. No decision made just yet from Don Mattingly. Let's watch it one more time here at full speed. It certainly did look like a standard double play. And they will indeed challenge this. Now remember, we saw the one super slow-mo. It was a good look. You see the frustration there on the face of Wei-Yin Chen. It's not when the ball hits the back of the glove. It's when the ball gets in the cylinder of the glove. And that first slow-mo that we saw, it was really, really close. And in a game like this, you got to pick your spots. You want to make sure you get it right. Watch the ball here. Is the ball in the cylinder of the glove before the foot hits? Oh, that is close, close, close. And the idea, of course, with replays, it's got to be clear and conclusive. I got to tell you what, that look right there, I think, works in the Marlins' favor. It doesn't have to hit the back of the glove. It's got to be in the cylinder, which is right there. Yeah, that's close.
That wasn't exactly a Willie McCovey at first with the stretch by Dietrich. Maybe if he had gotten a little bit more depth to that stretch, it would even been a challengeable play.
There was a little hesitation on that turn. That was part of it for Riddle. It seemed like he was having a hard time getting it out, but just wasn't quick. You know, getting it out. And
calls uphill.
One.
We should note, Duvall hasn't had much success with a bat in his hands since coming to Atlanta, but that's the second time in this game he's busted it down the line and gotten a good result.
Well, doing the little things is important, and the Braves have always been a team that has kind of pushed for doing the little things right. No more challenges remaining now for the Marlins. We see the one still remaining for the Braves. You know, it's a good use of one, even though you're at this part of the lineup. You got to take some chances once in a while with replay.
So there are 2 outs. Duvall, the runner at first. Dansby Swanson, 0 for 2. Swanson spots him a strike. And with the pitcher spot next, activity in that Braves bullpen. Last half inning, we saw activity in the Marlins bullpen.
That certainly makes sense. I can't imagine any scenario in which Sanchez would hit. I mean, maybe the 2-run home run. Let him go back out there, but he's done a good job here so far. I think the Braves can keep this inning going. We won't see Sanchez.
As a starting pitcher, is that just odd for you to be in the on-deck circle knowing that if something positive happens for your team, you're coming out of the game?
You prefer not to hit, essentially, because you're hoping that either runners come across the board or there's at least 1 or 2 runners in scoring position. So you want to pitch, but the idea of not hitting means something positive has happened offensively.
Into center field. That'll get down. Duvall heads to second. He'll stop there. Station to station baseball. 2 aboard with 2 outs for Atlanta.
Take a look at the pitch here first from Chen, that backdoor slider that he tried to use, and you see that's a pretty well located pitch. As a lefty, we say backdoor, you want that ball to start out of the strike zone and catch the corner, and it did, and it was down. That's just one of those times where you have to credit the hitter for going down and getting a really good pitcher's pitch and turning it into a base hit.
All right, Atlanta has not scored a run in the last 14 innings. With runners on at first and at second, they're going to let Sanchez bat, who is 0 for 29 on the year, including 2 strikeouts tonight against Chen.
I'm pretty shocked, quite honestly. I mean, you're essentially punting this inning. You know, the idea of getting some action up in your bullpen, was that just kind of a deep, toward the Marlins and maybe wanting them to think that you were possibly going to pinch hit? Because if you were going to do it, you would have done it right here.
Slugged foul, 0-2. Yeah, wouldn't this be something? Sanchez 0 for 29 on the year. A couple of strikeouts against Chen. Can always run into one. As long as you got a bat in your hands, you're dangerous. Swung on and missed. Side is retired. Chen now with 10 strikeouts. Braves lead 2 on. Utility away from Miami.
And you watch the way that he's thrown tonight, the way that he really has pitched in all of August, because August has been a very good month for him, and makes you wonder, what's the problem?